The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of unoriginal plot lines. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Die Hard ripoff week. Welcome and thank you for joining us today on the Salty Nerd Podcast. We're going to be talking about Die Hard ripoffs, movies like Air Force One, Toy Soldiers, and Under Siege. And I'm joined as always by my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with the barbarian space Viking, Matt Vader 74, who's got a gorgeous braid in your beard right now, dude.
Get a little more Viking,
That is
right?
so sick. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I do.
I can't wait to have our live stream with the cast of Norsemen, and you're going to be showing off some braids.
Yeah,
By the time that happens, you're going to have some
I asked Jude, our shield maiden, to braid me up today.
That's dope.
I'm the pod stylist and bartender.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Do you like that meme I made of you the other day with Jason Momoa?
It's so spot on.
Oh, man, we got a bunch of people in here. Oh,
nice. Excellent. Right on.
Guys.
Also joining us today is the ambassador of estrogen.
Oh, hello.
Jude, welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you doing, baby?
How you doing? I'm doing all right. We're going to be talking about these goofy ass movies. Matt Kadish, producer of the show, Grumpy Nerd. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad I can be here to service all of you with my producer skills.
Dude, I love
it when Kadish services us.
You're like very surly this morning.
Yes.
I walk into the house and go, hey, man, what's going on?
Yeah, Vader sits down and goes, good morning, Kadish. And Kadish goes, hey, I need you to move your head in your screen.
I know, right?
Because your head's in the wrong space for your screen.
I've got producer notes for how fucked up my editing is. It's great, guys. We love them. Kadish, you are the man. Thank you, sir.
The glue.
We wouldn't be here without him.
We're all about to get fired.
This wouldn't happen without him. So we can make fun of him as long as we
do
it in front of the crowd.
as long as we credit him with all the things that he does. All right, let's get into this. Before we dive into these movies, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll listen to some sponsors. We'll be right back. All right, guys, listen up. If you want to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com. There you will find our Patreon page where you can get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes photos, direct contact with the hosts, exclusive episodes, blooper reels, all kinds of really fun stuff. And our main thing right now, we're trying to grow our Discord. You get access to our Discord app, which has a ton of perks for the Patreon-only members. So go to saltynerdclub.com. Our goal right now, we're going to set a milestone for 50 Patreon followers. So if you can help us reach that goal, that'd be much obliged. Our overall goal is to make enough money off the podcast so that we can do this full time and present with you guys like a lot of really fun content and some extra stuff that we don't have time to do right now. But our goal is to be able to make more fun stuff for you guys to listen to.
We have ideas.
We do. We have a lot of ideas that we just can't make happen because we all have, or me and Vader have day jobs, which really suck. So go to saltynerdclub.com, help support the podcast. All right, the number one movie on our list today, Air Force One, starring Harrison Ford, the man, the myth, the legend. Jude, take it away. What is this show, or what is this movie all about?
1997 Air Force One, rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes. This had a budget of $85 million. What do you boys think this brought into the box?
1997 Harrison Ford, I'm going to say $250 million.
Okay, Vader?
I was going to say about the same. 225.
$315 million, gentlemen.
Get him.
Well, that's Harrison Ford.
That's Harrison Ford.
You ready for the synopsis?
I sure am. Go for it.
All right. President Indiana Jones is declaring war on terrorists just in time for Bram Stoker's Dracula to sneak aboard Air Force One and start executing passengers every 30 minutes till he gets what he wants. And what he wants is for Mother Russia to become one great nation again, starting with the release of Duke Leto Atreides. And if you don't get that reference, just turn in your nerd cred. Dracula is holding the president's wife, daughter, and baseball glove hostage. But what he doesn't know is that the president, pretending to flee in the escape pod, is still on board the plane. He'll be damned if he leaves his token of America's favorite pastime in the hands of the king of monsters, communists.
Well done, Jude.
Thank you.
I love it. I can't wait for Toy Soldiers.
I thought this was a really good Gary Oldman movie.
This is just a really good movie overall. Like it's so much fun. Everybody in it is believable. Harrison Ford as the president. Yeah, I could see it.
Totally bought
He's got the class. He's got the presence.
He's snarky.
Yeah. He's enough. Yeah, I get it.
He's so over it.
Is it known if he's a Republican or Democrat president in this one? I mean, he's fighting communism.
In this, I don't know.
So you think he'd be Republican?
because Democrats hate they love
communists. Yeah, they
right?
love communists.
Well, Gary Oldman keeps talking about how he hates capitalists.
Well, that's everybody.
You dirty capitalist, senor.
I want you to shout in the streets.
Do you understand what you're... So, Cadis, do you know? Is there any way of knowing?
So when this movie was made and released, it was under the Clinton administration. And this was Bill Clinton's favorite movie. Like, he looked at that. He's like, Harrison Ford's playing me. And it was funny because this movie, it's directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who is a German director. You might recognize him because he did Neverending Story, Enemy Mine, In the Line of Fire, The Perfect Storm, Troy, stuff like that.
Nice.
So he's big time director, but because he was German, so like the cast and the writer and the director were supposed to take a tour of the actual Air Force One in order to prep for this movie. And the Secret Service was like, no, we can't let a German national on Air Force One.
No.
And so Harrison Ford got on the phone with Bill Clinton. He's like, Bill, I need you to let Wolfgang on Air Force One. Bill's like, I'm on it, man.
I didn't know you had such a good Bill Clinton.
So,
Can you say, hey, Monica, you ever seen that stain on that dress?
hey, Monica, that's a really nice dress.
You know that movie Air Force One? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
Hillary's not in it though.
Well, it was funny because Bill Clinton, like this was like his go-to movie when he just wanted to unwind, and his only criticism of it was that there is no escape pod on the actual Air Force One.
Yeah, that escape pod looks
janky.
silly.
You know what?
It looks like
I'll bet there is one now.
You think so?
Actually, there isn't. And
How do you know?
How do you know?
Oh my God, quit telling people.
We're releasing national secrets here.
And
You know how big we are in Italy?
he also said that there's no parachute ramp in the back of the plane. So like he was like, that was a little inaccurate, but I really liked everything else.
That's good.
Can't get over that. The little impression you're doing. That's crazy. I don't know what else to say about this movie, dude. It's just a ton of fun. I love every minute of it. Harrison Ford being like the thinking man's action hero. Like, he doesn't actually do any physical violence except for like, unless he absolutely has to. And then the very end is the big climax.
It was funny because when we were watching, I turned to Jude. I was like, doesn't Harrison Ford just like look like how you imagine a president should look?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
fits the part.
like he's all like dapper in his suit, and he just like, it's like him and Bill Pullman from Independence Day are like the two like perfect movie presidents.
They're very JFK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good reference.
Instead, we
Like
get old Grandpa Troll. So,
So there's a kid in this movie, which I've slowly,
okay?
I've slowly been edging you
she's-
guys more towards hating kids in movies.
She's 12. Are you okay?
Yeah. So
She's all right.
what did you guys think? Was she like?
of the kid?
Yeah, I think she
was
pulled
a-
it off fairly well.
They didn't have her doing anything
It was,
adult.
yeah, it wasn't like she was rescuing
She was a
anybody.
non-factor.
Yeah, she was a hostage for the
Yeah.
entire time.
Yeah,
so.
she really wanted to grow up. She went to the ballet and she was sarcastic. Yeah, great.
Perfect. That's the way you do kids in movies, guys.
She had just
Have
as-
them do nothing.
She was like the dude from CSI. You know, the cop guy.
Grills?
No, what was his name? I don't know. The guy from CSI was in this movie. See, he's that important. that you
Oh,
don't even know.
the detective. Okay, yeah.
Like the
Like half
security chief or something. I don't know. Half of this movie, these people. This is a great cast.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
There's people in this movie that have been in tons of stuff.
William H. Macy's in this
Yeah,
movie.
man.
Well, what's funny is there are actors in this movie who are in our other Die Hard ripoff movies
Yeah.
that we're going to be talking about. I think, let's see here. There was Andrew Divoff, who played one of the terrorists, and he was like the main bad guy in Toy Soldiers, which we're going to be talking about. And then Glenn Morshower was one of the Secret Service agents in this movie, and he was
The guy
in
with the-
Under Siege.
Yeah, the guy with the glasses.
The red-haired guy.
Oh, okay.
He dies pretty early on in this movie protecting the president.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's in a lot of like military-esque movies and TV shows and stuff. He pops up a lot. But I was surprised at how young he was in these ones. It's kind of cool to watch.
It is kind of funny just seeing like who pops up in these movies and in terms of cast-wise.
Oh, you're doing another Die Hard ripoff?
I'm
Sure.
in.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
in.
do it.
I can pull off military.
Yeah.
Bring me
So-
in.
Give me that guy from that other Die Hard ripoff.
What makes up a Die Hard ripoff? Because I've told some friends at work that what we're watching this week. I do that every week, and they're all those aren't Die Hard ripoffs.
Okay, so
I mean,
I'm sure Kadish will add some notes to this, but my general perception is you have one character who has to rescue a group of people from one location that they cannot escape from, that terrorists have taken over. Whether it's an airplane, a school, a boat, a building, like a bus, they're stuck in one location.
A train.
They have to defeat the terrorists by themselves and rescue the hostages. Like that seems like the general premise for most of these things. And I didn't really have an issue, but I've got people asking me and saying that these aren't Die Hard ripoff movies. Do you have any notes to add to that, Kadish? Do you have any? What do you want to? Because you came up with this idea. I think this was your week's idea.
Yeah. So these are like, there is a Die Hard formula, and it's basically what Alex just explained, where you have a single location that's locked down and taken over by an enemy. And you have an underdog hero who is basically, you know, either on his own, or there's a group of them, but they're not well equipped to deal with the situation. And they find a way to fight back against all odds, despite the overwhelming obstacle that the terrorists present or the bad guys present. Yeah. And Air Force One was actually kind of like the last of like the big Die Hard ripoffs, because Hollywood kind of basically ran out of ideas.
What else is new?
Yeah, exactly. Like this movie kind of, I mean, like when you get to the point where it's like, oh, the president is the action hero and he has to take back his airplane, you're kind of like pushing the limits of credibility on this one. But,
Get off my plane.
God, what a line though. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about Gary Oldman real quick.
Oh, this was a great Gary Oldman movie.
He's a great villain.
He was like...
Always.
Well, he's just a great actor.
Honestly, I thought he was the main character of this show.
Really?
I did.
I think the movie was about him?
He's in this way more than Harrison Ford.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Harrison Ford disappears for the first 2/3 of this movie, comes back in, kills everybody, and then they have the big 20-minute finale where they're landing the terribly CGI plane. That looked like ass. I'm sorry.
It's 1997,
I
bro.
know, but no, I really thought this was more of a Gary Oldman movie than a Harrison Ford movie.
Did you sympathize with him?
Nah,
no,
not really. I mean, I don't know.
I like the opening scene where the CIA agent or the Secret Service guy opened up the cabinet.
Yeah, Xander Berkeley. Yeah,
he opened up the cabinet and then he threw the little smoke grenade, and that's when Gary and his boys freaking jumped and went into action. Mm-hmm. That whole opening sequence of them actually taking the plane was a lot of fun. It was very action packed. Lots of it was cool. But we made a criticism of Blood Red Sky about the terrorists in that movie, kind of just like willy-nilly shooting guns and stuff.
A lot of that in this. But they said in the beginning it's bulletproof.
Yeah, they had that set up so like you could fire off.
I'll allow it.
And you know what? They didn't even have to set it up because everybody knows that Air Force One
is pretty
but it was
reinforced.
It's a flying tank.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, but proper storytelling sets that up.
It could withstand a nuclear blast.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they say that in this?
They said within a certain range it can withstand a nuclear blast.
Yeah. So this movie was written by Andrew W. Marlowe, who went on to basically showrun the show Castle with Nathan Fillion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like I said, Wolfgang Peterson, who is like a big time kind of action thriller director, directed this, and it's very well directed, very well written. They called Gary Oldman on set Scary Gary because he was always so intense.
Was he method acting?
So Gary Oldman's one of those guys who he can break character, like when cameras aren't rolling, and then the minute cameras come on, he just turns it on because he's that good. And this actually reminded me a lot. I think he was coming off of The Professional, aka Leon, which was the Hitman with Natalie Portman movie. And if you've ever seen that movie, he's amazing in that. But in the scene where Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford finally get to face off, where he has the president captive, they were really hitting each other in that scene. And Gary Oldman was spitting on Harrison Ford and stuff like that.
What?
Oh, I bet he was not thrilled.
No, actually, Harrison Ford was all in on it.
Really?
And he's gone on record and said that Gary Oldman's one of his favorite actors to work with.
Have they done anything else together?
I don't think so. But
bummer, man.
But Harrison Ford was just he's like, yeah, you can hit me. And so like Gary Oldman and he hit him back eventually, but like, you know, like the two guys were just like, you know, we want it to feel authentic and this has to have that
That's
kind of
really
like danger
cool.
to it.
You know, you always hear so many stories about Harrison Ford being like finicky on set and like not. He just doesn't seem like an actor who loves what he does. So hearing a story like that, it kind of warms my heart about the movie a little bit more.
You know, he originally wasn't supposed to be in this movie. Originally, they were really pushing for Kevin Costner to be the leading man.
I
in
could see
this.
that.
I could see that.
Yeah,
totally.
especially of the time.
But Costner decided to go and do the postman instead, and so that's
Ooh. That's no.
Don't do that.
That's I love that.
We've got to do a Kevin Costner week.
Do we have time? All of his movies are a million years long.
And what was funny is Glenn Close was actually a last minute addition to this movie. I think they had a male actor pegged for the film, but then at the last minute, the guy had to drop out. And so Wolfgang Peterson approached Glenn Close to, you know, come in, and they were like, oh, we'll have a female vice president. That'll be like a nice little message. And Glenn Close, she had like cut her hair really short for like a different movie. And so the entire time she's wearing a wig in this movie.
You can tell.
So every time I see Glenn Close, all I can think about is the live action 101 Dalmatians remake with
All I think about is Fatal Attraction. I'm like, she killed bunnies.
like she killed dogs.
That bitch is always killing animals in movies. I don't trust her.
Yeah. And you know what was funny is in the script they had a scene where like she kind of breaks down and cries because she's so overwhelmed, and she's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, can't have a woman cry on screen. How dare you?
But,
Man wouldn't do that.
Well, she's just like, someone in my position would, you know, as the vice president, would be able to handle
I
something
thought
like
that
this.
scene between Glenn Close and Gary Oldman where he's like, how's your blouse? I loved that scene. He was so like, not being like, ooh, you're a girl, fuck you. But he was being like, you're going to sweat through that silk blouse. Oh, it was so tough.
Yeah.
My favorite scene with her was when they were trying to figure out who was in charge. No, I'm the defense secretary. I'm in charge. I'm the vice president. I'm in charge. No. You got to get your constitution straight. I'm going to go get somebody who knows what they're talking about. And they run off and get some constitution. Yeah, it was
the attorney general.
Whatever.
Yeah. Some constitution guy.
Who's the pro?
Hey, who's your constitution guy?
This dude's the expert over here.
I got the best constitution guy. You guys wait till you meet him.
We need the Supreme Court in here to figure this out.
Who's actually in charge?
Who's in charge of this round table right now while the plane is flying with the terrorists? And
We
stuff?
need a salty nerd constitution guy to be like,
Right.
Kadish is in charge, but in this aspect. But when this kind of stuff happens, Alex is in charge. And when there's alcohol involved, it's Jude.
Well, you know what's funny about that scene is that
I'm out. See ya.
you know what's funny about that scene is that it was based on something that actually happened, which is when Ronald Reagan almost got assassinated and he was in surgery. And the cabinet got together and they're like, who's in charge? and there were actual conversations like in this movie that happened in the White House
That's
during that
kinda awesome.
time.
Fun facts from Kathy Kadish.
Fun facts.
Vader, the only reason why you wouldn't be in charge is because you flee from conflict.
So you guys sort your
Every
shit out.
time these guys fight, Vader's like, I'm out of here. You guys let me know who won.
You guys got any booze?
He'd be a terrible Viking.
I know.
He'd just wait till the fighting was over.
He'd be perfect for Norsemen.
Well, you know what they say.
So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna rape and pillage some people. And
I mean, if
You
they
guys-
want.
If it's okay with them.
if it's convenient,
As long as they don't fight back, it's cool.
it's cool.
Like Jarl Varg would confront him and be like, hey, man, I'll just go over here. You just call me when this is over
I
with.
really like your spoon hand.
Here we go. Tangent, everybody.
Do they have a bottle opener one?
I'm
would
already
be
seeing
convenient.
Kadish, but like Norseman clips in the Air Force One segment.
We should make a Norseman meme with a bottle opener.
Yes.
Put it on the Insta.
Oh my gosh. I've got the writer director on the horn. I can make that happen.
Yeah.
You know that whole scene was bonkers where they landed the plane and took it back off, right?
Yes.
Well, there are such things as the
No.
landing takeoff. Like
No.
they do that
They
as
turned off the runway,
Oh, okay.
drove through a neighborhood,
They drove through
took
trees.
another turn.
That's true.
They got,
And we've already established this thing is a tank.
Yeah.
yeah, come on.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
not a roller coaster. You don't
I'm
get
just
to
saying.
go up and down.
I'm just saying. for pilots training, they do the landing takeoff maneuver. So it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
Those
but the
planes
fact
are tiny.
But the fact that they're blowing through like trucks and stuff, then yeah, for sure.
Alex, did you
yes.
know that Gary Oldman played one of the most beloved Harry Potter characters in the franchise?
He did.
Gary Oldman's in Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah.
Plays Sirius Black.
I did not know that.
Dude,
Gary's godfather.
Gary Oldman is in everything.
He's awesome.
He is
in everything.
He's legitimately one of
He's literally standing behind you right now.
He's Batman?
I think he's probably one of my favorite actors.
He was Commissioner Gordon.
He was Commissioner
yeah.
Gordon? Yeah. He does have he's what, 6 degrees to Batman? Is that what we're doing?
You know, we think we need to do 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. I think 6 Degrees that Gary Oldman would be a funner game.
You know, Gary.
A funner?
It's like
Funner.
I can't decide who I like more, like Gary Oldman or Alan Rickman. They're just like so neck and neck for me. They're just so good.
Yeah. I think the first time
British.
and very British. The first time I really had like Gary Oldman on my radar was Fifth Element. When he played that real kind of quirky, goofy villain.
Goofy.
He's so goofy.
But
in
he's
that
so
movie.
good.
That was the first time where I was like, who is this guy?
We've never watched that for this show.
We have not. There's two of them. There's
what is wrong with us?
Fifth Element and what is it? 1,000 Valerian Cities or whatever the hell that movie is.
Yeah,
That's
Valerian in the City of 1,000.
something like that.
That movie's groovy. It's weird. Yeah.
Technically a sequel to Fifth Element. It's in the same universe.
Well,
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go up in the
We're gonna
kitchen
find
and
out.
drink.
I know way more about Luc Besson than you've ever forgotten.
You want a shot?
Yeah, let's go drink. They're arguing.
All right, back on track. Final thoughts. Give it a grading. A star. Give it a star.
Are
Rating.
we already to final thoughts on
Yeah,
this?
I don't know what else to say. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I mean, we got the fight scene. We know Harrison Ford is a badass president. Gary Oldman's a badass villain.
I did want to say, so first of all, Xander Berkeley, who plays the treacherous
Secret Service guy.
Service agent in this. I've gotten to meet and hang out with him a couple of times because I don't know if you guys know.
Dropper.
I used to work in Hollywood.
Wow. He hasn't said that in a while. I'll let it slide.
He was a tour guide at the studio, right?
I got to meet him around the time he was working on the TV show 24.
Okay.
Which actually a lot of actors in this movie actually ended up working on. And really cool guy. And originally they had much more backstory for him in the script, where they talked about how he was a Russian sleeper agent and infiltrated the Secret Service specifically for something like this. And they cut it out because they're like, nobody's going to care. and we need to get this movie rolling. And so like, you never really find out his motivation for like why he turned traitor. I don't think the movie suffers from that, but I just thought it was interesting that they had all this backstory kind of mapped out for this character and they just like cut it out.
How much screen time do you think they would have had to dedicate to that? Couldn't have been that much. I mean, like what?
An
Extra 10 minutes?
Yeah, I don't
tops?
think
I mean, it's already over 2 hours, and for the 90s, that wasn't really common.
Is it over 2 hours? It doesn't feel like
2 hours
it.
and 4 minutes.
They could have cut the scene, like maybe slice it down a little bit where Harrison Ford was into Underbelly. Because there was a lot of just like walking from point A to point B in that scene.
Okay. I love the scene. Do you want to talk about favorite parts?
Yeah, we can do favorite moments. Go ahead, Jude. Take it away.
I love the part where he's trying to call the White House and she's like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm the goddamn president. I'm being hijacked. Put me through. And she's like, fuck you.
I also like how he's like a huge football fan. And he just wants to like see the recording of the game. And everyone keeps trying to talk about it. He's like, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And then finally that waiter just comes by and he's like, can you believe that score?
I think my favorite scene, or at least the like a little bit of a character arc in this movie, is when Harrison Ford's president was talking to like the secretary lady about getting a fax to the war room.
Oh, I love that girl.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, I love the fact that she was like, hey, Mr. President. She's like real meek. She's like, I know how to, I can send a message and I can do it with a fax machine, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, if you pull this off, I'm going to make you the Postmaster General.
Yeah.
And you see her, like the last time you see her, she's in a little parachute and she's just all happy. Like, ha, I did it.
Yeah, she's cute.
It was a good moment. I like that.
She's cuter than the daughter.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to know where the people with the parachutes got out. Were they over the ocean?
Yeah, they were. I think they were like close to Kazakhstan, weren't they?
They land in like enemy territory.
They dumped like 30 random American State
White
White House officials out of the plane over communist Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's like, and they're spread out over like 500 miles. I'm sorry.
Well, at the time,
that's
most of Russia was not communist.
that's not true, because the scene where they do the touchdown then take back off again is Ramstein Air Force Base, which is in Germany. So they were over Europe when that was
okay.
So they're flying over the Alps.
Oh, cool.
You know,
like land on top of Mount Everest.
Enjoy that mountain.
Hope you get down okay.
That's what I was thinking. Like, where are they going to land?
It'd be interesting to kind of
where are they at right now?
Try to figure out where it was.
My family was actually stationed at Ramstein when I was in kindergarten.
Gosh, do you just know everybody?
He knows.
Half the time I think he makes this shit up.
You've had a storied life, sir. That's a compliment. I'm complimenting you.
He's a little cranky today.
That's okay. It's all right. He's laughing. We're making him laugh. I'm happy about that. All right, let's do final thoughts. Vader, give it a rate. Final thought.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the end.
Okay.
The last 20 minutes of this movie could have been completely cut out.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things that like they kept piling ending upon ending.
Yeah.
Upon
It's
ending.
You mean the two planes?
The plane got rescued, and they're gonna. He's the pilot from the war, and he's in charge of the Air Force One. I thought it would have been cool. They just like had him land a plane and had a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we have to go into this weird, goofy CGI thing where
Like
we're
zipline thing?
ziplining back and forth at 3,000 miles per hour.
I didn't love the zip line thing.
It was goofy, man.
Okay.
I did not like that part. And they crashed Air Force One at the end in literally the worst computer graphics I've ever seen, even from 1990 whatever. It looked like complete dog shit.
Okay.
And I looked at my wife, who actually watched this movie with me. Oh, my mother-in-law. I gotta quit. We can cut this out if you want, but. I thought it was really funny because I go into my living room, and I always have to find time to watch these movies. And my mother-in-law, who just moved in with me like a month ago, right? She's sitting there very quietly reading her book in her corner in her chair where she likes to hang out. And I come in, I turn the movie on, and
It's all loud and shit.
it's loud, and and I'm trying to like be nice, because it was one of those movies that was like loud for the music, then it was really low talking when they were talking. That's why I had to constantly turn the volume up and down. But about 5 minutes in, my mother-in-law, she looks at the TV, folds her book up, puts it down, and sat there and watched the entire movie with me. Really? It was really weird. And then I'm on my way to work. I had to like stop like 20 minutes before the ending of this movie. And then I look at her and I go, "You want to watch the rest of this movie? Or you want to wait for me to watch it tomorrow?" She goes, "Oh, it's okay. I'll just watch it now." So she
wanted to.
She
was invested.
She was into the movie. I'm like, it was just kind of funny.
That's dope.
That's a weird little story, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this ending is so originally there was a different ending, and Harrison Ford didn't like it, and so him and Gary Oldman actually sat down and wrote this ending and gave it to the director and was like, "Can we do this?" And Wolfgang Peterson was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
I thought they should have just cut like 15 minutes off and made it a normal length movie.
What would you have done with the traitorous Secret Service agent?
I probably wouldn't even have had it in the movie.
Well, you had to have done something with him because he was still alive at the end.
Well, I didn't know he was traitorous.
He's the one that
He was the one
shot
who-
the first
I know,
people.
but I would have just jiggered the movie to where it wasn't a thing.
I probably
That's
would have
all.
done nothing and left it open for a sequel.
Sure.
Well, they also set up the fact that the president was a former pilot and Medal of Honor winner.
Right. So have him land the plane.
Baseball lover.
Yeah, so like you had to have him at some point fly the plane, and also it explained how he was able to kick so much butt.
Yeah.
In the movie. So like I'm just so appreciative of like old school like set up and payoff because we get it so rarely nowadays.
You just watch you can watch a movie and go, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah. It's our biggest thing. Like when a movie does that, we're like, freaking movie's dope.
Yeah, when a movie just does something, you're like, "Where did that come from?" It's infuriating.
So rating.
The end was just a little extra.
Okay.
So rating 2.5.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jude, how about you? Final thoughts.
Of the 3 that we're going to talk about today,
Die Hard ripoffs. How many stars would you give that?
Die Hard ripoffs. I don't know. It's hard. I'm going to put it right in the middle. I'm going to say it's 3 out of 5 Russian spies.
Okay. That's pretty good. Kadish?
I agree with my lovely lady over here. This is a solid.
Vader?
Yes. Yeah. This is a solid.
I'm nobody's lady.
This is a solid 3 get off my planes out of 5. It's a good solid movie. it does everything it needs to do. It was entertaining. I wasn't bored watching it. I know Alex loves it so much that he just watches it on his off time instead of for the show.
Yeah, totally is. When they were
This
like,
is in your rotation?
yeah, it really, like, he was like, hey, we're going to do Die Hard ripoffs. Here's the movies. I was like, oh, Air Force One. Oh, I just watched that like a couple days
I
ago.
remember you saying that.
Like, I have it downloaded on my phone from Netflix. I was like, oh, I just watched it.
Just a sweet summer
I
child.
just love that movie. It's a great movie. And I love Harrison Ford. I named my kid after him.
Yeah,
That's
and-
true.
And
Yeah.
I'm a big Wolfgang Peterson fan. And it's kind of funny because, the last movie he did was Poseidon, which was a remake of the Poseidon Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like over a decade ago. Like, and
He hasn't done anything since?
No, so like he specifically took a hiatus because he said that the types of movies he wants to make, which are like the mystery thriller, action type stuff, he was like, Hollywood just wants to do superhero movies, and that's not my thing. And so like he basically just said like, I'm going to take some time off. He recently came back, did his first German language film in like 30 years. Recently, he's like 75, something like that. But this was kind of like at the height of his kind of like cachet in Hollywood. And I think Poseidon, because it underperformed, was a big disappointment for him. And he was just like, you know what, I'm done with Hollywood for now, and decided to just take a break. And good on him, but still, like he's made some really good movies. And so I wish. Have any of you guys ever seen Das Boot?
Oh, God, that sounds really familiar. I
Yeah.
think I have.
Maybe.
It was like his big breakout movie. In fact, Jürgen Prochnow, who played the general in this movie, that was in jail that they wanted to try to get out. He was the captain of a World War I U-boat, and the whole movie's about a German submarine and the obstacles that they faced during the war. And it's a really like kind of tense, like well directed, well acted kind of movie.
Is it as good as Hunt for Red October?
I've never
No.
seen this.
It's not, but it's a German language film, so like you'd have to read the movie.
It doesn't bother me.
But it was kind of like Wolfgang Peterson's big breakout film because American directors went gaga over that. In fact, Spielberg, once he saw that, was one of the things that Spielberg did to get Wolfgang Peterson involved in the Neverending Story. So like he's a great director, and the fact that like he made this movie, like you can tell like it was very competently made, and I'm just a fan of his. So, but it's a shame that he took such a long break.
I'm sure he'll come back, right? Hopefully.
So what's your rating?
3.5. I give it an extra half star for doing the kid correctly and not having her like save the day in some stupid way and making the bad guys buffoons. So half star for that. And also Harrison Ford is awesome president. Gary Oldman's a perfect villain. It's a great movie. 3.5 easily.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's it. That's our discussion for Air Force One. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors, and we're going to talk about toy soldiers. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you'd like to support the podcast and get some awesome swag in return, go to saltynerdstore.com. That takes you to our TeePublic account where you can take a look at all the t-shirts, stickers, buttons, and tapestries, and all kinds of cool stuff that we have. Got something like this behind Vader. We've got that tapestry as well, and also his shirt that he's wearing, the official Salty Nerd Podcast t-shirt. Go check it out. Support the podcast. And their clothes are actually really nice, good quality. They have all different sizes from kids to Vader's size.
Blanket.
I didn't want to be rude, but
Double.
they have a lot of
I
sizes.
am a big guy.
You are a big dude.
People calling me fat and stuff on Twitter.
That's terrible.
Oh.
How dare they?
Who said that?
Oh, some person.
Some
I'm not
troll.
fat. I'm big boned. Okay, let's go.
I've got a curved spine. Anyway, so saltynerdstore.com. Help support the podcast. Get some cool stuff in return. All right. Toy Soldiers, starring Sean Astin. Take it away, Jude.
All right. 1991 Toy Soldiers, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour, 51 minutes. This had a budget of $10 million. What do you think this brought into the box office? I'm going to go Vader first this time. Vader, give me your guess.
What year again?
91, $10 million budget.
Probably 60, 70.
Alex?
48.
Wow. 15. Did
Nice.
not do great.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't have a whole lot of Toy Soldier sequels. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Sean Astin is the naughtiest hobbit at the St. Regis School for Boys. When Uzi-wielding Columbian terrorists take over the school and hold all the students hostages, it's up to him to take them down. With the help of his bad boy bestie, Will Wheaton, who wears an earring so that you know just how bad he is, they come up with a plan to outsmart the terrorists. Sean Astin journeys through Middle Earth to outside the school to where the FBI/military is camped. The boys have compiled intel on the terrorists, which Sean Astin delivers, but when the FBI/military doesn't want to let him sneak back into the school, he outsmarts them too and steals a military vehicle to aid in his escape, making it back to the school just in the nick of time as the terrorists are doing the hourly head count. When Will Wheaton gets himself gunned down, his father, the head of the mafia, Jerry Orbach, the one who put Baby in the corner, retaliates by killing the lead terrorist's imprisoned father, forcing the hand of the military/FBI to act quick and set up an attack on the school. Hopefully, Sean Astin can get the students safely to the Shire before anyone else gets killed.
All right, I want to make something very clear. I have nothing against Sean Astin. I think he's great as Samwise Gamgee.
This is
I saw a lot more of his body than I was prepared to.
This movie blows.
I never need to see that many 15-year-olds in their underwear.
Yeah, no, that was weird. That was definitely weird. Especially there was one dude who was just like rolling around in tighty whities the whole time.
The whole time.
The whole time. He was not afraid. And I was like, what are we watching right now?
I was in a text to you guys last
Was
night.
this UK?
Oh, this is 100% Kate.
Oh, yeah. He was like, I'm going to fuck with these guys.
Can't wait to torture them with this shitty movie.
Yeah, this was
brutal.
It's pure garbage. It's like all I wanted Sean Astin to do was like make him some potato soup.
Potatoes.
You know, it was such a terrible movie. And I'll tell you something.
Go ahead.
I'm watching this movie. I'm okay until I see that stupid, vapid, blank fucking face of that dipshit Will Wheaton.
You hate that guy so much.
I hate that guy. God, I hate that fucking guy.
He was such a bad boy in this.
Oh, please.
He said the F word like 3 times.
Oh my God, guys.
Did you see how his earring dangled? Like he didn't give a shit.
God,
just the little cross. It was so stupid.
He probably stole it from an old lady.
It's just, fuck you, Will Wheaton. Okay, I don't even know what else to say. It was just such a.
Here's the problem with this movie.
Such a terrible movie.
The kids. Okay, so like, the age group of these kids is not completely unbelievable because I think Red Dawn, the original one with Patrick Swayze.
Yes,
that's how you do this age
That's
group
how you
correctly.
do. That's how you do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Those kids were badasses, and a lot of really bad shit happened to them, and they came out the other end like a freaking chewed hamburger, dude.
They were survivalists.
Yeah.
These are prep school
These are prep school morons.
But I get that they set it up that these were also like the bad boys of prep school.
Whatever.
Fine. That just means that they drink a lot
here's
and
the
they
thing,
smoke
though.
and they swear.
Yeah.
I didn't buy Will Wheaton and Sean Astin as bad boys.
How about Will Wheaton's father, Jerry Orbach, as the head of the mafia? Did you buy that?
No.
Head of the New Jersey mafia.
Oh, it's from Jersey. It's even worse.
The only thing.
I don't even know what else to say. I just want to sit here and laugh for 20 minutes.
The only thing in this movie that I thought was there was a couple castings that I thought was okay.
Okay.
The head of the terrorist guys, he was believable, and I did like Louis Gossett Jr.
He's good
as the headmaster.
Yeah.
The black dude. Oh, what about Marcus from Indiana Jones?
Yeah, but he played Marcus.
Yeah, he was just Marcus.
He was just Marcus from Indiana Jones being a teacher. That's all that was.
The main terrorist plot guy. Whatever.
The Columbian terrorist.
Yes. Does he have a prosthetic ear?
What?
Because there were scenes where the lighting was just right, where his ear was 2 different colors, and it was like sticking out like oddly behind his hair. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, is that a fake ear?
Kiddish?
Do you know?
I've never noticed a fake ear.
I bet.
And all the times I've watched
I don't know what you're
this
talking
movie.
about.
We're gonna look it up as soon as we're done talking about it.
So,
what did you think about this movie?
Andrew Divoff played the main bad guy in this movie,
Okay.
and I don't think he has a fake ear.
Okay.
I love this movie.
Oh my God.
Get out of here.
I watched this movie so
crazy.
much growing up. And, you know, in the time period in which this came out, so it was shot in like 1990, came out in 1991. Like Will Wheaton was coming off of The Next Generation, and Sean Astin, you know, he still had his Goonies cred, and they were trying to push him as like the next, like, I guess, teen heartthrob type thing. So
I can see that.
You know, he's shown a lot of his like muscles in this movie.
So did they get like every kid actor that was under 5'5" to be in this movie so they can make Sean Astin look tall?
Maybe. I don't know the details about it, but this movie, it's based on a book by an author named William P. Kennedy. And the book is very different from the movie. So David Koepp was the screenwriter on this film, and he's the guy who wrote, Jurassic Park and a bunch of other stuff. And basically in the book, it's Palestinian terrorists who take over a boarding school in Italy, very close to Rome. And the main character, Billy Tepper, who's played by Sean Astin in this movie, he's kind of like the lone guy who screws up their plans.
He's the Bruce Willis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for the movie, they made it like a team of kids, and they changed the Palestinian terrorists to a Colombian drug cartel, and they moved the school from Italy to the United States. In fact, this same school was used in Major Payne, the Wayans Brothers movie. And it's I think at the time it was like a military prep school, and it has since transitioned into like a co-ed, just like
in real life.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like pre-college type school.
So why do you love this movie so much?
You know, this was a movie that I watched a lot when I was kind of like 12, 13, I think. No, I had to be older than that. But when this movie came out, it was one of those movies that the pay channels just played over and over again to fill time during the day. Mm-hmm. And me and my brothers would sit here and watch this movie. And it was one of those things where, like, as a kid, you're like, oh, like that could be me fighting terrorists and stuff like that. And this isn't like a hugely gory movie, even though there's violence in it. But it's one of those things where as a kid, you could be like, yeah, like, like I hate school. I want to be one of the bad boys, and I want to fight terrorists and stuff like that.
Is this your Red Dawn movie?
Yeah.
Because I feel that way about Red Dawn.
Okay. I should have waited for the podcast to do this, but I recently watched Red Dawn, the original one, for the first time, like a couple months back.
Yeah.
And I freaking loved it.
It's a great movie.
Dope.
Yeah.
This is not Red Dawn.
Absolutely not.
So I'm not sure where that comparison goes to.
No, what he's comparing I have nostalgia feelers for Red Dawn because me and all my buddies were like, we went out in the mountains off of our ranch growing up. There are still forts and embattlement emplacements in the fucking hills in Southern Oregon,
with your name carved in a tree,
waiting for us to come up there and defend our land against the Russians. I guarantee you they're still there because they are really built well. Okay, so I get what Matt's saying. There's some nostalgia feelers going on.
Okay,
here.
Yeah, there's definitely some nostalgia elements to it, but overall, like, it's still like, when I rewatched it, I was like, this is a well-written movie. This is a good story. Acting choices aside, you may not like the people who were cast in it now, but I thought that, the movie overall was pretty authentic. Like, it never stretched credibility, especially when the kids are going up against the terrorists. The final fight at the end, it's not like Sean Astin's running around shooting the machine gun and taking down terrorists. In fact, the one time that actually happens with Will Wheaton, like he dies.
Immediately
like,
gets killed.
Yeah. That was my favorite part of the movie.
That's my half star.
So overall, like, I feel like this movie is a pretty solid, like, well told, kind of underdog tale.
Yeah,
okay.
I
I kind of like, because I didn't buy the badass kid characters as far as the actors go. My perception of these actors was not able to stretch to be like, oh, they're badasses, right? So to me, I found the bad guys to be a little bit too buffoonish and kind of like, we're going to take over the school, but we're not going to secure all the exits because kids can get in and out. There's like free playtime where the kids are just hanging out. It's like they're running it like a jail, but not like a very secure one.
Well, they had the whole head count thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he did say, like, if I see that you are, like, obeying the rules, then I'll let you outside. And he's like, I think they know that, like, there's a lot of fucking kids in that school, so they gotta gotta keep it kind of copacetic. So if you follow the rules, I'll give you a little freedom. But everything was like wired up with explosives.
Yeah. I mean,
so
and they did say if the head count is off,
we're gonna kill 5 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 of you for every
But then when
one
that
who's not
happened, they didn't do that.
here. No, but he showed up.
They were about to. Remember, they started lining people up. They were like, you and you over against the wall.
Well, it took them they were like recount again.
Well, they recounted like
3 times.
They didn't
Yeah.
want to kill kids. They had some morals.
Yeah, and also those hostages were valuable, and so like it was a big deal. But one of the things I liked about this movie is that everything that the kids do to kind of thwart the terrorist, it's like they don't know if it's going to work or not. Like they're switching out. So the main terrorist has on his wrist
The garage door opener?
Yeah, the garage door opener, this radio control that would blow up explosives that they planted all around the school. And so it just so happens that one of the kids in the school knows a lot about radio frequencies and electronics and stuff like that. And so the kids theorize if they can switch out one of the chips in the receiver of that radio signal, that they can prevent that from happening, prevent the explosives from going off. And so like a lot of this stuff is actually kind of like a cat and mouse game. And even at the end when Louis Gossett Jr. saves Sean Astin, he's terrible at it. So like he jumps through the window with a gun to try to, shoot Robert Davies' character and instantly gets shot. But that gives the actual tactical guys enough time to get in there and save the day and kill the bad guy. So like I just feel like everything in this movie is very believable to me. Like I was never sitting there being like, oh, come on, give me a break.
In Kadish's world, this shit happened.
Well, there was one scene that I did go, oh my God, give me a break. Whereas the final approach from the military on the school at the very end, the big climax, there was 2 dudes in a bell tower. And this helicopter. An Apache helicopter comes up and sneaks up on them. And they're like, oh shit, we didn't see that coming.
Apache helicopters are very sneaky.
Yeah, okay.
This is a thing in lots of different movies. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it happens in every Marvel movie.
It's like, oh shit, where'd that thing come from?
Yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh. And
Hey, remember when that lady was in a helicopter and Falcon texted her?
yeah. Put your headphones in so we can make a phone.
Hey, you're gonna need to fly this plane.
He's gonna be like, shit, I gotta dig that episode back up and put the reference in there. No, but it was a I don't know. I just didn't buy it. Personally, I understand where you're coming from. You have some solid arguments, but for me, I was just like, I was rolling my eyes throughout the whole thing.
You don't have to like everything, Kadish.
Oh, that's fine. I know. I do admire them for taking out Will Wheaton, which I'm sure
that's my half star.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. Speaking of which,
and they didn't just kill him; they blasted his ass. It's like all across his chest.
I'll give it credit for the gore.
Yeah.
They did not shy away from bullet holes and squips and blood and gore, especially the headshot at the very end with the main terrorist, where his skull pops out. That was pretty dope. Yeah, that was cool.
Is that your favorite part?
It was my favorite part. I was like, oh, that was more gruesome than I expected it to be. So I was kind of like, all right, cool, I'm on board. But yeah, that's kind of like my overall thoughts on it. I didn't enjoy this movie, but
this is almost like a teenage Goonies in a way. Except instead of looking for pirate treasure, they're fighting terrorists.
So Salty just doesn't like Sean Astin.
That's not true though.
Do you like Rudy?
Dude, how could you not like Sean Astin's hair?
His hair is glorious. For the 90s, that is some glorious head of hair.
How about his sleeveless shirts?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
I used to have shirts like that.
I still have shirts like that.
That was a very, very 80s, 90s thing. Early 90s.
No, I do like Sean Astin. I love it. Like when he showed up in Stranger Things season 2 as the heartthrob, he was freaking awesome in that movie.
You like lovable round Sean Astin.
Yes.
Who doesn't?
I love teddy bear round. Yeah, I got you. Teddy bear Sean Astin.
Teddy Astin.
Teddy Astin. He's my favorite. Samwise Gamgee. He's dope. He's a really good actor. In this role, I just didn't buy.
He's not an action star.
No.
He's a pudgy little fun
sidekick guy.
Yeah.
But that's where he thrives. That's his golden moment. Okay, final thoughts. Vader, I think me and you are on the same page, so we'll go together.
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 for me. Half star for killing Will Wheaton.
Yeah. Almost a 1-star crap fest, but I'm gonna give it a half star
because it fulfilled that lifelong dream
for fuck you, Will Wheaton. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm doing. I'm going with that.
I can't get that scene. It's like burned in my skull where he's got the stupid little earring dangling and goes, fuck my father. And I'm like, oh, shut up, Wesley.
Will Wheaton said the F word.
What's your favorite part, Vader?
When he dies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
100%. Same.
Me and Salty are like, we are one with this movie.
With our hatred of Will Wheaton.
This movie fucking sucks, man.
I know you guys wanted to talk about it yesterday.
I know.
Yeah, he just kept trying to text me. He's like, "Bro, this movie sucked." Like,
Way too many dudes running around in their underwear.
That was weird.
Yeah,
that was
That
very
made me
strange.
feel icky.
I know.
We're far too young for that. Okay,
Yeah,
so Jude,
a lot of tidy whities in this.
yeah, that scene where they were like mourning the Will Wheaton's death, where they're all sitting together on the bed in their underwear. I'm like, what is going on
It's
here?
like,
Guys?
no, listen.
Put some clothes on.
I know. Listen, I hung out at my friend's house. We had a lot of like, sleepovers and stuff when we were kids and everything. Not once ever did we all just hang around
In your underwear?
in our tidy whities.
No.
It just didn't happen.
No.
We would have been like, the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
I mean,
Put some freaking clothes on, dude.
Put
You're
your
really.
dick away.
What are you being weird for?
Especially when they're all like stealing phone sex lines.
Oh my god! Do you want me to take my bra off?
Yeah, there's a whole scene where they make their way into the basement and they have this kind of like camouflage alcohol that looks like mouthwash.
Yeah.
And it's like vodka, creme de menthe, and something else.
Let's get a scope bottle.
Yeah, and it tastes just like mouthwash, but they're like, we're gonna get drunk off this stuff.
Remember when Marcus tasted it and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty good."
and so like they hack into the school's phone lines and they call this phone sex line and when they're talking to the girl, like Sean Astin just takes characteristics from all of his friends to tell her what he looks like.
He's a black blonde guy.
I have blonde flowing hair. Oh, and did I mention I'm black?
And Jewish.
And Jewish, yeah.
Jesus. Terrible. Just a stupid movie.
Yeah,
dumb.
but they're all sitting around like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they're
Talk
getting all
dirty to me.
They're all like in
I'm
a
banging this chick right now.
they're in a group of like 10 dudes.
It's like,
look,
And they always talked about like the number one rule is you have to wait till your roommate's asleep before you start jerking it. Yeah.
so gross.
I mean, have you guys ever like
No, I've never done that.
No. I wasn't gonna say that.
Until Kadish is asleep all the time.
I was waiting for it to like. It's like, oh, they're gonna have a circle jerk around the phone sex lady.
I mean, if
Okay,
there's
that's-
one thing I never needed to see was watching a bunch of 15-year-olds get all horned up.
Yeah,
I know. It's
that
weird.
one dude straight looked like John Cena from Suicide Squad. I was like, what is happening right now? It's terrible.
But did you guys ever like live in the dorms in college, or be in a situation where you're in a boarding school situation like that?
I mean, I think we've all had sleepovers. I think that's the closest we've all gotten to.
I lived in a co-ed dorm for like a few months.
I've lived with several
college.
dudes.
Like I've gone camping.
The co-ed dorm was it was fun. It was a party. There wasn't a lot of studying going on.
No. All right. So Jude, final thoughts. What do you think about this movie? And give it a rating.
I just hate it.
Okay. Nice.
I think talking about it was more fun than watching it.
Kadish is on his mountain over here.
I
liked it.
You are alone on this hill.
Here's my flag with my blue check mark.
My favorite part is when Louis Gossett Jr. is walking through the sewer in his loafers. He's like tiptoeing.
Okay.
Whatever happened to him?
He got shot in the shoulder.
No.
In real life.
Is he dead?
Oh, I have no idea.
No, he's still alive. He retired.
He's kicking it.
Because
Kicking it.
he made a lot of movies back then.
I didn't.
Was he the dude from The Shining?
No, he was like
okay.
in Iron Eagle and stuff like that.
I didn't hate the experience of watching it, so I cannot give it a 1-star crap fest with y'all. But it's like it's not as good as a two-star movie. So it's a 1 3/4
Okay.
scope booze for me.
Scope booze. Hidden alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Kadish? Give it a rating. What do you got for us?
This is a solid 3-star movie.
You
for me.
are crazy.
I really enjoy watching this movie.
This is based entirely on your nostalgia and not the quality of the movie.
This is definitely
I'll allow it.
a nostalgia pick for me, but I don't feel like it's a bad movie. I feel like there's a certain kitsch quality to it. Like I enjoy this movie. I've watched it hundreds of times probably in my lifetime, and I can't disagree with anything you guys have said about this movie, but I can't help but love it. It's one of those. It's my Alex movie. I know it's bad, but I love it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fine.
Everybody has those.
Yeah. So for me, this is definitely 3 out of 5 phone sex sessions. So.
This is your chopping mall. I get it.
So weird. I don't want to.
We all have our bad movies that we like.
No. That's fine. I'm saying the sex phone call thing is really.
Oh, that was a thing.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
That's why.
Oh, 100%.
There used to be like commercials, late night commercials.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, call this number.
Are you lonely and
yeah.
single
Oh, yeah.
and just want to talk to someone?
1-900.
Call now.
Oh yeah, the 900. This is when parents would get the phone bill.
Yeah.
And they would go, "Why the hell is my phone bill $1,200?" When it's
You
usually
pay by the
40.
minute.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes are free, or the first minute's free, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like $1.99 per minute.
Per minute.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people who got grounded for a long time.
Yeah.
because
It's like the psychic phone lines.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Well, this was before the
But
internet.
we got to remember his
Look at
age
his
group.
face.
Look, I was around before the internet. Okay.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
No, you weren't. You're 33. I've been going to
Before it was
fucking
like-
chat rooms on the internet since before you were born. So don't give me that bullshit.
No, I mean, I didn't have the freaking internet until I was a teenager. Like, we didn't have freaking
I'm just
dial-up.
saying, but this was the thing, and it
just-
was around before you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
I
were
guarantee it.
legit phone sex commercials played on the TV.
I think a magazine would do better, though.
Why?
Because it's got pictures.
They were in magazines too.
It's freaking weird.
So
Dude, like,
you'd just be watching a movie and the commercial would play and it'd be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm sexy. You want to call and talk to me?"
They were
And,
called- they were-
dudes would be like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Yeah, they were all over the place.
Yeah, and also these kids are at a boarding school. How are they going to go someplace to get dirty magazines?
I don't know.
There's just one in the whole school.
He's taking out terrorists. You're telling me you can't go to the local gas station and get a Maxim magazine?
There was that store where they got the booze from. They
Listen,
probably have magazines there.
When you're 14,
they would have to sneak out and spray paint the sheriff's car and stuff like that. But you still had to be 18 to go into a store and get a nudie mag. And
listen, when you're 14 and you need porn, you will find a way. Okay.
Those Sears catalogs were real good.
Kids have it so easy today.
I know they do.
yeah,
Google.
but you have to remember when this movie was shot, they were just coming out of the 80s. So
Yeah.
this was like the 90s moving into 1991. And a lot of what we kind of take for granted nowadays didn't exist back then. And so like, you have Sean Astin and his ripped jeans and his rippling muscles and his flowing hair, calling phone sex lines.
You just got
Back in the 80s when things didn't exist.
I
and
throw
stuff.
up when I get excited. What?
Sean Astin's muscles. What? All right, that's it. That's our discussion for Toy Soldiers. Stay tuned, guys. Last on our list is Under Siege, the fantastic Steven Seagal movie. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you'd like to support the podcast and come hang out with us, go to our Discord server at saltynerddiscord.com. I am hanging out there all the time. We're doing live streams. I'm playing video games. We're hanging out with our friends. We're chatting about every topic you can think of. I've got a channel just for dinosaurs. Go check it out, saltynerddiscord.com. It is a growing server. We're getting new people coming in every day. It's fantastic. We love chatting with you guys. So
yeah, it's a great little community that we're building over there, and we would like more people to come and join us in it.
Yep, absolutely.
Sometimes I even pop in.
Sometimes
like Waldo.
When Jude,
Where am I?
You should see the chat. When Jude pops in, like sparsely, she pops in, she's like, "Hey guys," everybody goes nuts. Like, Jude's here!
It's like when a hot chick goes into a comic book shop.
I know, right? Jude.
It's like that scene from Euro Trip. Girl.
Just a bunch of naked dudes running down the beach. Yeah, the movie's gross. All right, guys.
That movie is fantastic.
It is a fantastic movie.
I love that movie.
I also like.
Don't you dare besmirch that movie.
Sex Drive is equally as good. I love that movie too.
It's good, but it's not equal.
Okay, we'll argue about that. Like, we need to have like a
Excuse. Excuse.
Anyway,
yeah, saltynerddiscord.com. We are lubed up.
Getting there.
Next up on our list today, guys, is Under Siege, the Gary Busey and Steven Seagal and Tommy Lee Jones movie. God, I can't wait to talk about this one. It's my first watch. Jude.
it was.
Yeah. Jude, take it away. What is this movie all about?
You have never seen this movie
I
before?
have never seen Under Siege
my
before.
I believe I saw this in the theater.
I had no idea what was going to happen when I pressed play. And I knew it was a Steven Seagal movie, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah.
But then when all these like ultra famous people showed up and they were playing like cartoon characters, my mind was blown.
Well, they weren't exactly famous at the time.
Yeah, this is true.
This movie actually helped make them famous.
That's insane to me. Jude, take it away. What is this movie all about?
1992, Under Siege, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour 43 minutes. This movie had a budget of $35 million. What do you think this brought into the box office, Alex?
52 million.
Vader?
105.
Wow.
156.5.
What? No way.
Yeah, this was a pretty popular movie back then. I didn't.
Yeah, Steven Seagal was big
He was
shit.
This is
a big thing.
before the ponytail, Steven Seagal.
No. This is after ponytail.
Oh, he cut the ponytail off for this movie?
Yeah. So basically, one of the things I was gonna fun fact you guys.
Oh,
on
go
this
for it.
movie
Fun fact away.
is that Steven Seagal had to cut his iconic ponytail off for this film because realistically, Navy personnel are not allowed to have ponytails. And so like it was a big deal and required a lot of negotiation, but Steven Seagal was eventually like, fine, I'll cut it off.
What a lot of people don't know is well, I mean, people do know, but Steven Seagal was like one of the big action dudes
In the 80s,
of
right?
the 80s. You know, it was Bruce Willis, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and then Van Damme, and then
Right.
you kind of had Steven Seagal and probably
Yeah, he had
couple
that
other
crossover
dudes, but
between like action and martial arts.
yeah.
But there was also that whole thing about how like he used to be a Secret Service agent. And he was like a master and
Well, don't
Yeah.
spoil it.
No, I mean, I know you're trying to do your synopsis, but I've always felt Steven Seagal was like the poor dude's action star.
Yeah.
I was never really
Yeah.
into his movies, but they're not bad. They're just not very good.
I love
But-
Steven Seagal movies
Yeah.
because I like shitty movies.
Yes. Yeah. They're very cheesy.
You ready?
Yes,
Yeah.
go for it, please.
All right.
I'm so excited for this.
Steven Seagal is just a cook. Or is he? Gary Busey is a loyal commander in the U.S. Navy. Or is he? Tommy Lee Jones is just a musician. Or is he? It's the captain's birthday and a great excuse to bring Miss July 89 aboard a ship full of horny seamen. She's all set to pop out of the cake and entertain the boys. Not to be outdone, Gary Busey lipsticks up and puts on his own show for the crew. But uh-oh, what's this? The band and all the caterers are terrorists, led by former CIA operative / crazy person Tommy Lee Jones, and he wants retribution for a botched operation that should have gotten him killed. Meanwhile, Seagal's been locked in the meat freezer and his pies are burning. Seeking retribution of his own for his pies in a defiled bouillabaisse, Seagal teams up with a pale-nipped Miss July and sets his crew free to take back his ship.
Bonkers.
Did I explain the movie
Oh, yes.
for you? Do you get it
You did.
now?
I love this movie.
It was so great.
So
This movie was made for us.
Oh
okay?
my
It
God.
absolutely was.
I was so excited to watch this movie. Because, like, we don't get a lot of time to just watch stuff that we enjoy. We always have to watch within the theme of the week so
Yeah.
that we get it done by the time we record the show. So when we get to watch something that I just really wanted to watch, it's just such a fucking joy.
I'd never seen this movie before. First watch. I knew it was Steven Seagal, but I kind of like, okay, Steven Seagal movies kind of take themselves seriously, but they're also shitty.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's a Steven
But it
Seagal movie.
adds to it. The amount of seriousness that he has. Like, would anyone have been like, call bullshit on his ponytail? No. But he took it so seriously that he was like, I must do it for this role.
So
It's method acting.
I'm watching this freaking movie and I can hear the lines that Steven Seagal is delivering. And immediately I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be Bruce Willis. Because Bruce Willis does sarcasm really well. Steven Seagal is like a 2x4 in this movie.
Actually,
He's like,
you want to know who was supposed to be in the
Oh,
Steven
yeah.
Seagal
Hit me
role?
with
Oh,
it.
Kevin Costner?
Wait.
No.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
Joking.
No,
Damn
it
it.
was originally supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he committed to Universal Soldier at the time,
my God.
so he couldn't do it.
I mean, Universal Soldier is a good movie, but that would have been
My
fantastic.
uterus
would've
just
been really good.
exploded.
How would they have explained his French accent?
Oh, no, did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was up for the role of the president in Air Force One too?
Get out of
That
here.
would have been dope.
That would have been wild.
Get off my plane. And get to the chopper.
I'm going to land it.
Oh God, no!
I can
Like
land the plane.
Steven Seagal's lines, like he's like, "Your brain's made of mush, kid. You got nothing in your head, kid. Those are bullet holes, kid." It's just like flatlined
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole time.
Well, that's how he is in every movie.
I know, but
I
that-
just
I'm like-
assumed this was kind of like written shitty, but like Tommy Lee is amazing, and I just assumed all of that was ad lib.
Okay, so Tommy Lee Jones was basically playing Two-Face from that shitty Batman movie.
Okay.
That's his character in
Okay.
this movie. And I'm down for it.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah, like everything that he does, like with this, he's like,
Yeah.
just like walking. It's cuckoo,
He's
and
so
I love
crazy.
it.
It's like you've got Gary Busey and Tommy Lee Jones overacting.
Yep.
And then you
Yes.
got Steven Seagal and all of his crew underacting. And it's like this weird seesaw of like each scene is either bananas cartoonish or very straight-laced and not very
And you
good.
got your token like naked chick that has no reason to be there at all, except that we
no.
wanted to see her tits.
Well, yeah.
They promised.
I mean, I
Listen.
get it.
Erica Eleniak is fucking gorgeous, man. She's
You're not
like
wrong.
she was quintessential 80s.
I'm
titties
obsessed with her boobs.
Oh my
Can
God.
we talk about her boobs?
She was actually the Playmate of the month for Playboy for July 1989. And she was also a regular on Baywatch, I
Baywatch.
believe.
Yep.
Jude has been texting us all week. Like, I cannot wait
Yeah,
to
she's
talk
been
about
obsessing over her boobs.
the tits in this movie. So, Jude,
Be-
let the audience know.
I had to
amazing.
watch it more than once and just go back and look at her boobs again because I was baffled. Okay, so she pops out of the cake.
Oh, we're not allowed to have a clip of this on YouTube, are we?
No, we can't show it.
Man,
But
listen.
I will set the stage for you and you won't need to see it.
I've been dreaming about that cake scene.
She pops out of the cake and she's wearing that typical like 90s thong that
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
up to like her armpits and she's just
Love
got a
it.
jacket on and she's like grinding, but her eyes are closed the whole time so she doesn't see that the room is empty. But her boobs are all one color. Like there's almost no differentiation between her boob and her nipple. And I just couldn't stop looking at it because I've never seen boobs like that.
got very pale nips.
Everyone has like differentiation. Like I've seen a lot of naked women. I've worked in a spa before. Like I've seen a lot of boobs, and I've never seen boobs that are just like
Colored.
Monochrome.
monochrome. Yeah, I've never seen monochrome boobs, and I was entranced, and I had to keep watching it over and over again.
Well, you know what's funny is so around this time, this movie really blew up on home video, and
That portion of the videotape got like worn out.
yes, Blockbuster had to keep ordering new copies because when the tapes would get returned, they'd break because people watched that scene over and over
I
and over
understand
again.
why.
Yeah.
It's like science. I don't get it.
Around this time, 1992, internet's not really a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are still like obsessing over like boobs and movies.
I am.
And the VHS rental places kept ordering new copies of this because the tapes would get worn out on that scene alone. Like that's literally where the tape would break.
So I want to do a Twitter poll after we're done recording this. See what people who follow us think. Excluding your own,
Okay.
who has seen more pairs of boobs, Vader or Jude?
She worked in a spa.
Make it. Yeah, but come on, bro.
I mean,
Is your game that weak?
it's pretty weak. I don't have
married for a very long time.
Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. But yeah, no,
Speaking of Erica Eleniak,
Oh, she's gorgeous. She really was.
did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Eleniak? Okay.
Pretty good.
It was bound to happen eventually.
I know. And that's a hard one to say.
So you know how Steven Seagal is kind of known for bragging about stuff that he didn't actually do. So like there's this whole thing in this movie where originally her character, the stripper character, was not in the film, and Steven Seagal in interviews he's like back when we were making this movie, I just knew we needed to have like a beautiful woman play my sidekick, and so I insisted that she be written into the movie, and that was all my idea to add some comic relief.
your impressions have been on point today, bro. I think there's a similarity between Bill Clinton and Steven Seagal, though.
I think Steven Seagal should play President Clinton in a movie that someone needs to write.
There's a movie about Bill Clinton coming out soon. Is it Clive Owen who's playing Bill Clinton?
It's a TV show. It's American Crime Story, Impeachment. It's all about the Monica Lewinsky
It's coming
scandal.
out this week.
I think
I'm gonna
Steven
watch the
Seagal
shit out of
should
that.
play him and keep the ponytail.
Well, what's funny is Steven Seagal is now a Russian citizen. He renounced his U.S. citizenship.
Yeah.
What?
And he's Putin's cultural ambassador to the United States.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, he went full communist, dude.
How dare he?
I know, right?
He used to be an American hero.
I know.
What the shit?
I think he's still an honorary deputy, isn't he?
Is that really? That's true?
Yeah.
That's what happened?
He's been an honorary deputy since 1979.
No, I mean the Russian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's legit.
I'm so sad now.
Yeah, that's what I don't know what to say about that.
We lost one of the good ones.
God damn.
You know, Steven Seagal, he's been involved with the mafia. Like the mafia was behind financing a couple of his early films. And he had a big falling out there. And then like he had that whole lie about being a Secret Service agent and all this other stuff. Like he's a weird dude.
I mean,
He's
there's
very
always
strange
been something kind of weird and creepy and shady about Steven Seagal in off camera and stuff. You know, it's just like there's just something goofy about this guy. I don't know.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah. And it's funny because nowadays he thinks he's black.
Oh,
Like he
God.
goes around just talking like jive turkey.
Well, no. He thinks he's whoever he's talking to.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, does he do the mirrored personality thing?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
if have you ever like heard him talk to an Asian person? He like starts like
Oh no.
bowing and he affects an accent.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. Like if you're different than white, he'll just like start talking like the most
He
stereotypical
tries to talk
version.
Spanish to Spanish speaking people.
Oh.
It's cuckoo, man.
So when in Russia does he talk? You know?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. He's like, oh no, everyone in America speaks like this.
But so Steven Seagal's crazy in real
He's
life.
a goofy. Yeah.
So let's talk about real crazy and talk about
Gary Busey.
Gary
for a second.
Busey.
Yes.
Oh, the abuse, man.
I texted you guys while I was watching this movie. I texted you guys and I was like, "What in the shit just happened?" Gary Busey's got double D's. He's dancing around. He's got lipstick on. He's gone full Gary Busey, and I'm just like,
Did you see that guy's
"Oh my
legs?
God!"
He's got some nice little gams on him.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I had no idea that was going to happen.
But he's like a nutball in real life, too,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, I love his character so much in this.
Utah.
He's
Utah.
so
Get me
crazy.
too.
Get me too.
There's a shirt,
Yeah, yeah.
saltynerdstore.com.
Yeah.
It says Utah, get me too. Oh God, it was fantastic. I couldn't believe it. And then that scene where he's sitting at the desk and he's talking to Tommy Lee Jones and he's like, "Can you believe they wanted me to get a psychological evaluation? Do I look like I need a psychological evaluation?" He's got his tits on the desk and he's got a wig, freaking, what is it called? A wig net or something like that to hold his hair in.
Yeah, yeah.
Hairnet. It's freaking hilarious. It's a walking meme.
Yeah, oh yeah, he is. He plays the same character in every movie he's
Just
in.
about, yeah.
With a little, okay, well now he's cop crazy or he's
He was
military crazy or
What was he in Predator 2?
he's a cop.
Was he a cop?
He was a federal agent.
That's right.
Head
Okay.
of the Predator Task Force
Yeah,
or
he
whatever.
was also
they're called.
crazy in that movie.
Yeah.
It
Well, he's Gary Busey.
was glorious, man.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard when I saw this. I was like,
He's
oh
just
my God.
so crazy. I mean, everybody in this movie, they just said that they had so much fun with their roles. I think even like the soldiers and the sailors.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy Lee and Steven Seagal hated each other.
Did they really?
Yeah, like Tommy Lee, he kept calling him Seagal, and that just like pissed Steven Seagal off like so bad.
I mean, they really don't share a ton of screen time together. Right?
Freaking Lieutenant O'Brien's in this movie too.
Oh yeah, Columbian.
Yeah, he plays a
Yep.
bad guy.
Yeah, every time he showed up, I was like Miles and Miles O'Brien.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
I was
I mean, there are like a lot of like cool kind of like character actors in this film. There's this one guy, Raymond Cruz, who plays Ramirez, and he's just like, he was in Breaking Bad and Major Crimes and stuff like that. And he's just kind of like this really fantastic Latino actor who just shows up in everything, and you don't know his name, but you're like, oh, I
You recognize him. Yeah.
Also, Sven Thorson.
Is he in this movie?
No,
Oh God, I was gonna. Oh.
If he was, I'd have told you.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, that's Kadish's line. Who else was? Oh, Goose. Is that Goose, right?
No.
From Top Gun?
No.
That's not him?
That's
No.
not Anthony Edwards.
No.
I could have sworn. I was like, oh my God, they killed Goose.
So I think this is a question that Kadish might have the answer to, but didn't they use the battleship for this? Weren't they like? Wasn't this like the last actual battleship that was commissioned, and they were
Of the Missouri?
they were like decommissioning it or
Probably,
something?
because it's
In the
filmed.
movie?
And
Or
how
in real life?
No, in real life.
Okay.
Because there's no actual battleships in the fleet anymore.
Oh.
Because there's no reason to have a battleship.
It was like, well, they have to have support for aircraft.
Well, no,
carriers.
they have destroyers and cruise missile launchers, but there's no giant long huge
Sure about that?
USS. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
So after they finished filming on this battleship, it got decommissioned.
Right.
So it was on its way out.
Yeah, that's usually what they do is like when they're filming a movie like this, like a military battleship movie, they usually find one that's already decommissioned and they just like paint the name on there. But yeah, everything.
Modern warfare is not conducive to a battleship.
Look at the legs
ships
on
are different now.
Busey.
God, we're watching it right now, guys. We've got the scene where Gary Busey's cross-dressing and dancing. God, that looks horrendous. It's like, who hired Carol Baskin to be on this freaking movie?
You leave her alone.
That bitch.
That bitch, Carol Baskin.
So can we talk a little bit about Tommy Lee Jones?
Absolutely.
Please,
Sure.
please do.
I want that jacket.
So before this movie, nobody really knew who Tommy Lee Jones was. He was kind of like a minor character actor, been in a lot of stuff, but like he wasn't someone that you would recognize the name of. And this movie really put him on the map. And the guy who directed this movie, his name's Andrew Davis. You guys want to guess what his next movie was after this one?
The Fugitive.
That's exactly right, The Fugitive.
Yes.
And
guess.
he
Nice.
brought like 8 cast members from this movie to The Fugitive, including Tommy Lee Jones. And that was the movie that launched Tommy Lee Jones into the
Superstardom.
stratosphere. And in fact, this movie, Under Siege, when they were making it, Andrew Davis was sending dailies to Harrison Ford because he was trying to get him to agree to do The Fugitive. And it was based off the strength of this movie that Harrison Ford agreed to do.
No way.
Wow.
Wow, this movie's so shitty though.
Is it though?
It kind of is.
Is it?
What's the what?
This is a fun movie.
It's very fun. Don't get
This
me wrong.
is the best movie of the movies we've watched today by far.
Yes, not best as
I
far
mean,
as like goofy.
It's goofy, but it's campy, but it's also it tells a story.
Well, okay,
and it's fun.
I was so distracted by Gary Busey and Tommy Lee Jones and I almost said Jason Seagal, Steven Seagal, that I really was unable to grasp what the plot of the terrorists was in this movie. Did it make sense? Because I didn't even notice.
Okay, but also keep in mind this movie like more than quadrupled its budget.
True.
So for 1992, like we're watching it in 2021 and saying, yeah, this is a shitty movie. It's ridiculous, of course. But in 1992, this was the shit.
Yeah, it was. I guess it kind of held up to the rest of the shitty
Yeah.
90s movies.
The terrorists take over the ship, kill people, and
But they're like going to sell missiles or something?
They're making believe that they're going to blow up the world when the real goal is to take the missiles off the ship and sell them to North Korea.
Yeah, but didn't they say they wanted to nuke Honolulu or something?
So what happened was a former CIA spook put together like a black ops team to take over this battleship and hijack the Hellfire missiles that were on it. And the plan was to offload these missiles to a submarine that the spook had supposedly sunk during one of his black op missions, but actually commandeered, and sell some of those off to, the highest bidder to make a lot of money. But while that's going on, they're distracting the U.S. government by holding the island of Honolulu hostage by threatening to shoot some of these Hellfire missiles there, which would kill hundreds of thousands of people. And so while the U.S. government's thinking they're dealing with a hostage crisis, just like in the real Die Hard, it's actually a heist film. So that was the plot.
So they're setting up the railing and tracks in the ship
So they can
to move the missiles off to the
Okay.
submarine that's waiting off the.
So it
off
checks
the
out as far as writing goes. It checks out then.
I mean, if you don't think about it too much, yeah.
You can't think about it.
I couldn't think about it though, because I was so distracted by the cartoon characters that were fighting each other that I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. But
Who picked this?
I did.
he picked all three of
I
these
think he
movies.
picked all these movies.
Yeah, it was his week. He's like, I want to do Die Hard week.
Okay.
And you know what's funny is like there are some great lines in this movie with Steven Seagal where the stripper's like, "You're not a cook," and he's like, "Well, I also cook." It's like I enjoy the character that he plays in this movie, and actually, it was because of this movie that the third Die Hard had to get delayed because the original Die Hard 3 was going to be on a cruise ship. And because this movie came out on a ship, they were like, "Oh, we can't do that." And so,
Like Speed Cruise Control?
Yeah.
and that led to what we got with Die Hard with a Vengeance. It was because of this movie.
That was the one in New York with Samuel L. Jackson. That's the
a good
superior
one.
Die Hard.
The first one is the superior one, just so you know.
Mom, Dad, please don't fight.
Jeremy Irons, bro. Come on.
Alan Rickman.
Jeremy Irons.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Jeremy Irons. All right.
Alan Rickman.
Do you guys want to do final thoughts, or do you want to keep talking about this movie? I'm kind of like, I loved it.
Who's your favorite? Is it Steven Seagal? Is it Tommy Lee? Is it Busey?
Oh yeah, of the crazies, who's the best one in this movie?
I just think Tommy Lee is.
I think he nails
just
it.
the standout.
Yeah, I think he. Okay, so the whole thing about like Tommy Lee Jones not being a star until after this movie, that's news to me, because I grew up with Tommy Lee Jones already being like Tommy Lee freaking Jones. Yeah. And because he looks so old already,
well, I think he wasn't he?
He was in his late 40s.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is a wrinkly dude. Like, he's had some days in the sun, so like he looks older than he really is.
What did he do before he hit it?
I don't know. Like, I've never seen.
Was he an accountant or something somewhere, or what?
I've never seen a young Tommy Lee Jones.
Because I don't think there is anything with young Tommy Lee Jones.
When did he start acting? Do you know, Kadish?
I think he started acting pretty young. I think he was in like a lot of TV stuff.
Okay. Really?
But like I said, before this movie came along, he wasn't on anyone's radar, and this was like his big breakout performance.
Was he like? Did he play like some random dude in Little House on the Prairie?
Probably. Yeah. So there's a funny story about Tommy Lee Jones that I heard from an interview with Jim Carrey when he was doing that shitty Batman movie as Two-Face. He hated Jim Carrey. Because he was so eccentric and like crazy and weird. But I'm watching this movie and I'm like, Jim Carrey could have played this character.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. No. The reason he hated Jim Carrey was because every time he was on screen with Jim Carrey
outperformed him.
Well, would suck all the oxygen out of like he couldn't outperform Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And so he hated that. And when we do our review of Val, I actually have like a few things to say about, like the whole Batman thing. And Tommy Lee Jones has always been one of those actors who's very kind of selfish. Like he loves to steal the scene, and he couldn't steal any scene from Jim Carrey. Oh. And that's one of the reasons he hated him.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. But I feel like as far as eccentric goes, he plays crazy eccentric really, really well.
He does.
So, anyway. All right. Vader, final thoughts, and give Under Siege a rating.
Well, of the 3 movies we watched today, it was by far my favorite.
Okay.
It's a crazy, goofy. This is the kind of action movie that I just feel it's right in our wheelhouse, and I had a great time watching it. These guys are all crazy, they're all fun, and it's just got a lot of stuff in there that we like. You know, I mean, the goofy characters, the overacting. Some great boobs.
Half star for boobs.
Erica Laniak is beautiful. I'm sorry, she was just super hot back then. And it's just a crazy fun movie, and I enjoyed it. I'm glad we watched it. I don't remember the first time I saw this. I mean, it was almost like it was a first watch. I know it wasn't, because I know I've seen this movie probably 4 or 5 times 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Which was weird because I don't feel like I'm that old, but I guess I am. But yeah, for as far as the rating goes, 3.5 stars. I think that's where did I put
Air Force One?
Air Force One, 2.5, right? Yeah, 3.5.
So this is better than Air Force One.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it is anyway. Okay. I enjoyed this movie. Good stuff.
Right on. Jude, how about you?
I like this movie a lot. It's my favorite that we watched this week. So when I think of it as a Steven Seagal movie, but when I'm watching it, I'm really like looking for Tommy Lee. He's just the standout of it. And there's just so much good stuff in there. Like Busey is crazy and a wacko, and every scene that he's in is really good. Like Steven Seagal is honestly like the worst part of this.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
It's still good.
Can you imagine if it was Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh man.
This movie would be 5-star.
I know. That being said, it's a 4-star for me.
Wow,
it's a
that's high.
4-star general for me.
Wow, nice. Okay, nice military reference too. Kadish, how about you, bud?
So I really enjoyed this movie. Andrew Davis, I feel like he's a very competent director. In fact, he did Above the Law with Steven Seagal. Like, he directed that movie, and it was that relationship with Steven Seagal that led to him being cast in this film. And he went on to do like Chain Reaction and The Fugitive and, some other basically fugitive ripoffs. But it was a very competent movie. In fact, this is the only Steven Seagal movie to ever be nominated for Academy Awards.
What?
Yeah. It got nominated for 2 Academy Awards, both technical, and it didn't win any of them. But this movie has that claim to fame. It's the one Steven Seagal movie that actually got nominated for an Academy Award. Steven Seagal, you know, he's in 40 minutes of this movie, but he's very memorable in it. Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Busey, the whole cast is really good. Colm Meaney, I love Colm Meaney. I could watch him read the phone book. So overall, like, I love this era of Steven Seagal movies, and one day I'm going to make you guys watch some of his more current ones. Fat Steven Seagal.
Oh no, you're not.
One day I will. I assure you. And we're gonna have some fun comparing it to his heyday in the early '90s.
Wow.
But I could watch, no matter how bad the movie is, I could watch any Steven Seagal movie.
You know what I kind of have picked up on this week, and I think in other movies we've watched as well. These movies are billed as a Steven Seagal movie or a Harrison Ford movie, for example, but like always, I find myself drawn to and more interested in
the villains.
Yeah.
And I think the villains get more screen time in these movies than our heroes do.
Well, Kadish always says, like, your movie's only as good as your
but that's also kind of like a side effect of the Die Hard formula.
Yeah.
Which is basically the main character. You get all the characterization you need right up front. He's a blue collar, working class underdog guy who's really good at kicking butt. And then the rest of the time it's like, well, let's flesh out the villains and their plans and stuff like that. And so like the villains get a lot more screen time.
But I don't feel that way when I watch a Die Hard movie. Those are Bruce Willis movies. Those are John McClane movies.
But you love Alan Rickman.
We do love Alan Rickman, but it's not an Alan Rickman movie.
Alan Rickman.
Okay, but whatever. It's a Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah.
True. Yes.
I don't look at Die Hard and think, oh, you know, like Air Force One. I go, oh well, this was a a movie about the terrorist guy. This was a Gary Oldman movie, not a Harrison Ford movie.
Okay, so serious thought here. If Jean-Claude Van Damme was actually the main character in this movie, I think we would all see it as a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And
maybe
I think it's because Steven Seagal is so boring that it causes the villains to take the spotlight.
But you know, his kung fu sucks too.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only scene he actually did any kung fu,
break somebody's wrist or something.
That's the only time.
Well, the big thing in this movie was the knife fighting.
Yeah, every time he picks up a knife.
Oh my god, that was the knife fight at the end.
It was mesmerizing.
So goofy. He's just like.
He's basically dancing. It's like knife dancing.
And that stupid mannequin.
Him and Tommy Lee Jones, they're just like they're just going off at each other.
So I guess what I want to know, and this is a Kadish question, how do Hollywood scriptwriters avoid making the movie become a story about the villains when they're trying to make a story about the heroes? What do they need to do to make a good flick to where the villains don't take over the movie? You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of a complicated question because first of all, it also depends on the actor. Like who was the guy who played the bad guy in Die Hard 2? It was William something or other. The guy from
it was supposed to be. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Very stern looking guy.
He played Death in Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
So like you don't remember him because he wasn't this over the top actor. So like the actor has a lot to do with it. The director also kind of decides how much screen time the villain gets. But overall, it's mostly a question of like how terrible can you make the hero's life and make it interesting and believable. So you get in a situation where if your main character continues to run into obstacles that the audience is like, how is he going to get over this? That's a good way to do it because otherwise the whole focus is going to be on explaining the terrorist or the bad guy's plan. And if you look at the very first Die Hard, like that's picture perfect, like, story balance, I guess you could say, where you have a equal amount of the terrorists doing their thing and equal amount of John McClane doing his thing and running up against obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And you just go along with it. Whereas when you get into like Die Hard 5, you're just like, fuck John McClane.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is so stupid.
I just had a thought because we're watching it on the screen right now, and I'm a huge fan of Jason Momoa, and I've been watching a lot of his movies lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just watched Sweet Girl.
I was going to ask if you watched that yet.
I did, yeah. This needs a remake with Jason Momoa.
Sure.
I could see that. I could see that happening.
You'd have to cut all his hair off.
He's not cutting that ponytail off.
That maybe.
I don't care though.
It's a wig to begin with. So.
Oh, you remember the scene from the cartoon or the commercial?
Yeah.
Anyway, did you give it a rating?
I also could. Not yet.
Okay, go for it.
So this to me is a solid 3 monochrome boob out of 5.
Wow,
So,
3 boobs, like Total Recall boobs.
Those are the best boobs.
Monochrome. This is not my favorite movie of the week. That goes to Air Force One. As far as like good, I'll watch it on my own time because obviously Air Force One is in my rotation of just like, oh, it's there, I'm going to watch it. This movie, however, was the most fun I had because of how unexpected it was. Like I was watching it and I expected like a shitty Steven Seagal movie, and there's Gary Busey with double D's and Tommy Lee Jones being just a nut job. And I was like, this is fantastic. I had a great time watching it. So it's definitely the most fun I had this week. Again, Steven Seagal is the weakest part of this movie.
He really is.
He
right?
really is. It's like, I'm going to put it right down the middle, 2.5 stars, half star for boobs. And I had a lot of fun. I highly suggest watching it. Just don't take it seriously. Like, don't go in like, oh, I'm going to watch Air Force One and Die Hard.
I don't know what kind of a person would go into this game like, this is a serious movie.
Oh, no,
I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're going to watch a serious movie.
I was just like, if you're going in watching
2 Academy Award nominations.
You can put that on the
like,
little tag thing on the bottom.
I would.
Academy Award
nominated movie.
Under Siege.
Starring Steven Seagal.
Oh my God.
I would say like I would watch Die Hard seriously. I would watch Air Force One seriously. This, you can't do that. It's too goofy.
You go into it thinking it's a serious movie,
and then you're like, oh shit.
This is what we got going on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Half star for boobs. I liked the amount of gore and blood. That final scene where he stabs freaking Tommy Lee Jones in the skull and he's just like, blah, and he died. Like that was
pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Well, there was also all that backstory there. If you guys picked up on that, where Tommy Lee Jones was the spook that got Steven Seagal's crew killed in Panama or something like that.
Did not pick up on any of that.
It's there. You just need to,
there's that whole, oh, I know you.
Yeah,
it's been a while moment between them.
And it also explains why, like what do you call it? Special forces soldier is a cook on a battleship.
I got that backer story. That was cool because the captain of the ship or the admiral of the ship was like he's my dude. I'm gonna keep you on so you can get your retirement or something like that. Like I don't want you to get dishonorably discharged. So that was cool. I mean, there's a backstory, and I think Kadish checked the writing out, and it stands up. So that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of setup and.
I was so distracted by the goofiness of it all that I couldn't really pay attention to.
You know what I was distracted by?
Boobs.
I mean, this is peak early 90s action cinema here.
Yeah, this was good stuff.
2.5 star, solid 2.5 star, definitely worth a watch. It's on Netflix, I believe, right now. Correct? Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. That's the podcast for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you liked the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that fantastic 3,000 subscribers. We're working our way up, guys. We're chugging away. So help us reach that goal. Share this video with your friends and, share the joy, share the fun.
Yeah, feel free to comment if you have any thoughts on these movies.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Do we need a new shirt? 90s boobs.
And they're just like freaking straight on.
Like freaking fake ass.
They're like
hard
on
cantaloupes.
the shoulders.
I think we need a shirt called monochrome boobs.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would do that in a shirt.
The shirt's just all one color.
Listen, don't be dissing on Erica Laniak's boobs. They're gorgeous. Okay,
they were nice.
They're very beautiful.
They were nice.
And I'm gonna go follow her on Twitter and thank her.
Maybe we can get an interview set up.
Thanks for those boobs.
Thanks for your boobs, babe.
Half star.
Love you.
Her and what's the other? Dina Meyer.
We need to write half star for boobs down as a T-shirt. That because that's a T-shirt. That's a salty nerd
That's
thing.
the thing. Like
what should our next T-shirt
we're just gonna have the boob collection.
90s boobs.
The booby collection.
Half star for boobs.
We have boob
80s
stalker.
Boob stalker, 80s boobs, 90s boobs, half star for boobs.
That's it.
We're just going to have the boob collection.
The boob collection. The salty nerd boob shirt collection.
I don't know who's going to wear that shit, though.
No,
Monochrome boobs.
it's exclusive to the $30 Patreon tier.
I'll get a boob stalker shirt. I can stock some boobs. That's a little creepy, but whatever. I'll wear it.
SaltyNerdStore.com, guys. Go check out our stuff.
There was a time where Jude wore her 80s tits shirt to Target.
To Target, and I totally forgot that I was wearing it until people kept pointing at my boobs.
They're pointing in 2 different directions.
What's wrong with your shirt, dear? Well, are your boobs perfect?
Oh, okay.
This lady coming out of Target and me on my way in pointed at my boobs, laughed, and said, haha, 80s tits. I love it. But all I heard was tits. I love it. And I was like, what? And then I looked down, I was at the door. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I'm already here.
Can you imagine a Steven Seagal, Tommy Lee Jones knife fight? But with boobs?
They'd be fighting each other.
Oh,
It's safe to say we like boobs on the Salty Nerd podcast.
apparently.
Love them.
What have I done?
Like to play with them, touch them,
Okay, stop. Guys.
Smell them.
suck them, play with them,
Call them George.
jiggle them,
Got names.
zerber them.
My precious.
Yeah. It's that scene from Liar Liar. He's like, everybody's been realized, well, it's because you got great tits. You want to suck them.
This can be Patreon stuff. It's okay.
Go to saltynerdclub.com.
Tickle them.
Get access to all the stuff that we have to cut out of this freaking show. I don't even know if this is going to make it. All right, guys, round the table. Where can we find everybody on the socials? Matt Vader, go for
Oh
it.
man, where can we find me? I'm all over the place right now. Twitter, you can find me at MattVader74 and at salty underscore nerd. I'm running our account now. Facebook, I'm Matt Vader. I don't know how we got that, but I joined a new Facebook thing for our stuff over there. Come join us over there for the old people on Facebook. Instagram, Matt Vader 74, and yeah, all over.
Right on.
The place.
Jude, where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok.
And every once in a while in our Discord server.
Sometimes I pop in there.
Share a GIF and bounce.
I just say boobs and then I leave.
Matthew Kadish, where
Get
can they
everybody
find
all
you?
riled up.
I know, right?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and Kadish Books takes you to my Amazon page.
Right on. And I am the Salty Nerd, your host. You can find me exclusively on our Discord server and also Instagram. But go to saltynerddiscord.com and come join the community. We have a great bunch of people in there, a ton of supporters and Patreon members who are chatting it up all the time. So come join us. We love talking with you guys. And join the Patreon club. Go to saltynerdclub.com and join up. Help support us. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching the show. And as always, stay salty, my friends.